get different topics which we are not aware of it. Most of the thing we just go online, Google it, galat information lete, which is very bad. I think we definitely need a professional help like Pooja ji. So as I mentioned, today we would be discussing about restraining order, which I have a zero knowledge about that.
Which you're lucky. It's good you have zero knowledge. That means you haven't gone through anything. Huh? So what is a restraining order?
Yes.
Unfortunately, when relationships, even if you're unmarried, not necessarily only for married couples, but if you're unmarried, you're in a dating relationship or you're in a marriage relationship, and whether it's a husband or the wife or the boyfriend, girlfriend, and you suffer not only just mental abuse, but physical abuse, any type of abuse is abuse, you know. You need protection from the government. You need someone who is going to make sure that this doesn't happen again, because you have been violated, essentially, right? So you go to the police department, you file a police complaint is the first thing I tell everyone to do, so that way it's documented. And then number two, you need to go to the family division, the court in your county, and then seek a restraining order from the judge. Depending on the time of day when you go, if you go after 5 o'clock, you can get a restraining order from the police station itself. A lot of the times, the police will tell you, you know, come back tomorrow, there's no judge. It's a lie. There's always a judge on duty 24 hours available via phone, so you can get a restraining order for your protection, whether it's 3 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You have a right to that.
No matter what.
No matter
the time.
what. But unfortunately, there are police officers that are they're not always up to par, and so they might not want to engage in all the additional paperwork. That's their problem. Your problem is to protect yourself.
Yes. So, guys, if you have any questions on this, please reach out to Pooja Mehta ji right here at the studio. She's here, 732-297-9886. And if you think you don't want to discuss on air, definitely you can reach out to her. It's very personal. So you can reach her. Yeah, you can reach out to her right after the show. 732-283-7400 है उनका phone number if you want to talk to her right after the show. So if suppose you think they don't have any place or to go, what do they do generally, like, you know?
So when you're getting a restraining order, right, it's usually for husband or wife, and the individual gets kicked out of the home, or they've been abused, and they don't want to go back into that situation. So there are organizations out there. You can tell the police at the station that, I don't want to go back. My life is in danger. I don't want my husband or I don't want my wife to know where I'm going to be going. Or if I go to my relative's home, then he will find me, she will find me. What do I do? There are safe houses, basically. That's what they're called. Your location will not be disclosed to anybody except only the people that you want to know where you're living, and you're allowed to stay in that safe house for a certain period of time until you can essentially get back on your own feet. So that is extremely important, because a lot of women will come to me and they'll say, लेकिन घर का तो सारा mortgage, सारे कागज, ठीक है, joint है, लेकिन वो he's there, बच्चों के साथ कहाँ जाऊंगी, क्या करूंगी? So these safe houses, you just have to tell the police that you want these safe houses, and you'll be able to get them. And initially I didn't discuss this, but I just want to rephrase, or rather phrase for the first time. When you do get a restraining order, that restraining order is going to make sure that that person cannot come physically close to you. That person cannot contact you over the phone. They cannot reach you through another third party. So meaning कि वो तो contact नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन अपने दोस्त को कहेंगे या अपनी माँ को कहेंगे, right? कि उसको please कहो कि वो call करे मुझे. No, that person cannot do any of that stuff. So complete cut off from that person.
So I think a lot of people get scared to go all the way to get the restraining order. So what do you want to say? Anything else? Don't get scared, right? That's what
exactly.
I would say. Yeah.
It's a very, very difficult place for any person to make that decision, because especially in our culture, it's something that's not really looked upon in the best way. But I always tell my clients that you need help. I deal with a lot of male clients as well that have fake restraining orders put onto them by their female spouses, or where they themselves are the victim and they are looking to have their abusive wives stop whatever their actions are. So there's no shame. Abuse is abuse, and you really need to get help, and the court system is able to give you that. In the state of New Jersey, the restraining order is it's permanent, meaning initially there's a temporary restraining order. Within 10 days, you go in front of a judge, you have a final hearing about everything that happened, and if you're able to prove your case, then for the rest of your life, it doesn't matter if you're in India, if you're in New Jersey or if you're in Florida, anywhere that restraining order will be upheld. So it's a huge protection. Other jurisdictions only give you a restraining order for 1 year, or maybe 2 years, 5 years, whatever it might be. And the other important thing to know is that there are also immigration consequences to restraining orders. Now, that usually comes up in cases when I have the defendant, meaning the person who's being accused of the abuse, is either a non-U.S. Status holder or a green card holder. Well, if you have a restraining order against you, so that means that there's immigration consequences in the form of possible deportation, because you're considered a threat to society, right?
Yes.
So if you are a individual where you are being you're having a restraining order against you and you're innocent, you need to get help. Please take this seriously. You need to get an attorney to help you, because if the other spouse succeeds on the restraining order, then you can possibly face massive immigration consequences that are permanent.
Wow.
So
it's very tough.
these are very serious issues, Kushi. And the reason that we're discussing them today is because, unfortunately, not a lot of people are talking about them in our community. And the reality is that whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, people do suffer abuse. In the state of New Jersey, even if someone calls you in a harassing way, that is abuse. Just, it's not the typical thought process in our mind where, usne thappad mara ya usne mujhe ye khincha tha ya wo khincha tha. No, abuse is not physical. Yeah. It's harassment as well. So anything that you suffer, you have to understand that you don't have to go through it.
Yes, so you can definitely take help from a professional.
Absolutely.
I know this is very sensitive issue. A lot of people want to go, talk to you in person privately, right?
Absolutely.
So I would definitely say that the number is 732-283-7400 है पूजा जी का number. Please do reach out to her. डरना नहीं बिल्कुल.
Absolutely.
Just whether it's a male or female, as Pooja ji said, please reach out to her. She can definitely help you out with any kind of situations you're going through right now.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I just want to make one last point, and this is not for anything from my business personally, but there are a lot of agencies out there that provide free service for spouses that have no income. So we want to make sure that everybody gets help, right? Not just whenever I come here, the whole point is to provide a service to our community. So you remember that there are free services out there that can help get you an attorney for your restraining order hearing. I volunteer my time as well with some of these agencies. We've helped a lot of women, a lot of men. So you don't have to think that, how am I going to pay for this? You don't have to. There's lots of help out there.
Really? That's a good piece of information. So as you're talking about that, the safe home you said.
Yes.
Where, do they have to pay, or is there any certain amount of time you have to stay there? Or
so it depends on the safe home that you're provided.
Okay.
Some of them usually have a time restraint. They're usually free. They're free services because given the immediate danger the individual is facing, the state doesn't want that person to go back into that home or anything. The other thing is, the other option you have if you don't want to go into a safe house, you can have the abusive spouse or abusive boyfriend, girlfriend be removed from the residential home, meaning that you can go back into the home with your children, or if it's just yourself, and you can have the police put into the order that you want your spouse to be removed from the home. Because most of the time we're seeing situations where the victimized individual isn't working, they're usually home, they're not financially capable. So the state wants to provide as many protections as it possibly can.
Wow. See, so many things we don't know all these things.
And the person who's being victimized can also continue to receive financial support until the restraining order final hearing date has happened. So again, I don't want people to think that, once I leave or once I file this restraining order, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to pay for groceries? How am I going to do this? No. The court system understands everything, and there are lots of tools in place to help you with this.
That's really good. So guys, you heard what Pooja Mehta ji said, right? Reach out to her at 732-283-7400, and they are located at Metro Park train station. Please reach out to her, 732-283-7400. We were in conversation with Pooja Mehta ji. She'll be back again here every Thursday. So कुछ और अच्छा वाला topic लेके आएंगे जो हमको बिल्कुल पता नहीं है.
So next week we're going to be talking about EB-5 immigration visas. I know we discussed that briefly last week. So
someone was just checking. So guys, as Pooja ji said, next week we'll talk about EB-5. And Pooja ji, thank you so much.
Thank you,
have
Khushi.
a wonderful time.
You as well. Happy Memorial Day to you and to everyone at
Thank
BBC.
you so much.
Thank you
so much. Guys.